Loading. Loading. Success.
I don't need to analyze. Every word that comes out is a lie. Make it look like it's so ice. You won't make it to the finish line. Now if you gotta know the truth was gonna let you go. You was fine, never mind, unpredictable. Fade eye of the ground, you ain't no one. You a star, blow it up like supernova. In the nighttime, hit my hotline. Sharing secrets, you wish really was part your life. Basic bullets, with no bullets. Does your wife know you're begging for?
It feels like slow motion as I move my body to the sound of the music thumping in my chest. The lights around me flash and the sea of dancing people blend into the rhythm of the atmosphere. It's like everything, but the music is muted as I close my eyes and get lost in my own world. It's the weekend, and me and a few co-workers decided to hit up one of the popular clubs in Neon Shores Party District. Before moving to Neon Shores, I've never experienced a club before in my life. This is my third visit to one since I've been here, and I've seemingly fallen in love with it. My hair is now in a jagged shoulder-length bob style, and the bottom half of my hair fades from black to a dark green color. The outfit on my body is a white sleeveless mid-drift top with black ribbed leather pants and glowing gold beads around my waist. My nose is pierced with a glowing gold hoop ring on my right nostril, and I have my makeup done with long butterfly eyelashes. It's crazy how changed in the span of 3 weeks, but I have never been happier. The moment my Sky Access chauffeur car landed in Neon Shore, I became the person I've always wanted to become. I concluded that I had too many bad memories and baggage hanging on me in Burlow Heights, so much to the point that it kept me in a past that I no longer needed to entertain. Since I've gotten here, I've felt and seen less of the ghost of my past. I tap my Rio wrist, then bring up the alcohol app requesting a shot. After I tap on the purchase button, I lean my head to peers above my head, showing an animation of a shot being poured into my mouth. Roscoe, who is a new coworker and friend of mine, cheers me on, causing our other coworkers around us to cheer too. I've always known that ringers have an app to give the effect of drinking alcohol or smoking weed, but I never once in my life thought to try either of them. Even as a human, I used to just find it all pointless. But, I've come to learn that sometimes pointless things are just fun. Tonight has been the first time that I've ever had an alcoholic drink in my life, and Roscoe could not be happier.
Girl, you have been taking them shots to the head. Now that I met the drunk version of you, I feel like I fulfilled my life's purpose.
Shouts Roscoe over the music excitedly. Roscoe, like me, relocated to Neon Shores from Burlow Heights on the Watchman facility's dollar. He worked at the second Burlow Heights Watchman location, so I never met him until we were moving buddies to travel together to Neon Shores. His short curly hair and tanned brown complexion, along with his flashy appearance, easily turned heads. Women have looked his way when we go out, but he looks past them and keeps his eyes on the men behind them. He shared with me about his recent divorce from his husband and how distraught he was. This moving opportunity couldn't have come at a better time for him, just like me. He's always wanted to experience Neon Shores, so this new life is just as exciting for him as it is for me. The Neon Shores waves clash and rush up the sandy shore, and the ocean seems to have no end in the horizon. The faint rings of Saturn wrap the sky like a large glittering gold rainbow as it mixes in with the sunset. Back in Burlow Heights, it was hard to get a view even close to resembling this. I spin my hovering chair to look around at my new office, taking in and appreciating my new setup for the 100th time. My eyes land on a fake wooden sword that the company ironically hung in my office for pure decor. It reminds me of the practice swords I used in my swordsmanship days, so I've stared at it from my desk several times since I've been here. After thinking it over for another moment, I finally moved my feet to get up and walk over to observe it more closely for the first time. It was as if I thought even touching it would send me back in time to the days when I held a sword simply to get me through the day. I lift my hand and reach towards it with slight hesitation before finally grabbing it and holding it in my hands. I grip its handle like I once used to before giving it a casual swing. A faint smile finds its way on my face with relief, so I jab the sword forward. Next thing I know, I begin casually messing around with it as I try remembering some of my swordsmanship moves. My ringer body moves a little differently from my human body, but I still know how to plant my feet and upswing and downswing. I do a quick spin and jab the sword forward, impressing myself. As a few minutes pass, I'm now moving around the office more quickly as it comes back to me. I begin to imagine that I'm fighting off several swordsmen coming at me in different directions with Notorious Eve grinning by my side. We both fight and cut down all of our dangerous enemies swiftly and quickly before their swords come anywhere near us. Getting increasingly cocky, I do an even fancier spin before slicing another foe. Notorious Eve throws her magnet quick blade as I go into a final and dramatic turn with speed. Suddenly, my office door slides open, revealing Roscoe, which surprises me. All the people I'm fighting vanish along with Notorious Eve. While in mid-air of my spin, I accidentally send my wooden sword flying out of my hand. It zips past Roscoe and loudly hits a shelf full of the company's knickknacks. Roscoe has a puzzled look on his face as if not knowing what to react to first.
What the?
He says as he looks in the direction of the sword, "Crap, crap, 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 crap." I say with panic as I rush over in hopes that nothing is broken. I was once again checked out in my own world and got carried away. After a thankful prayer to God or the universe for the sword or anything else not being broken or damaged, me and Roscoe finally make our way out of the Watchman building, but not at all in a peaceful manner. As we stand outside on the sidewalk, Roscoe continues to both loudly heckle me and question me about what he saw. He was amazed by how good I looked, but also found it hilarious that he walked in on it.
Are you a Ninja Turtle or something? What the hell was that? Seriously.
He says in between laughter, "What is a Ninja Turtle?" I shoo him off for the final time and he says his goodbyes before walking in the opposite direction, still trying to contain his laughter. We stay in the same building, but today he has some extra plans to attend to. Thank the universe for that, because he had one too many questions. As I turn and begin to walk, I stop and notice that a Notorious Eve actor is performing across the street. The character and some guys are acting out a fight scene and begin gathering a crowd. The lady has on the famous black cowboy hat and a watered-down replica of a long black royal tattered coat. She has a fake glowing gun holster vest and begins to fake shoot and dodge the man attacking her. After the show ends, people begin to send money to their Rio as they bow and start making their way to another part of the street. 4 people dressed up as the royal family take that opportunity to move in and take their place.
How lame is that? You'd think that people would be super tired of seeing Notorious Eve stuff by now.
I turn towards the voice behind me and find what looks to be a blonde, Saturn Japanese woman. Her hair is up in pigtail buns and she has a glowing neon pink headband around her head. Her outfit is an oversized pink sweater dress with white glowing sneakers. I take it you've lived here for quite some time? The girl nods her head at me.
Yeah, I've lived here my whole life, born and raised. That Notorious Eve chick has more impersonations than Michael Jackson, and I don't even think she exists. My name is Shelly, by the way.
Who's Michael Jackson? I smile at her confusingly before responding. I'm Cassidy. I just moved here 3 weeks ago from Burlow Heights, so I'm a newbie. Shelly's face lights up the second I said Burlow Heights.
Oh my god, Burlow Heights, that's super cool. What part are you from?
I'm from the north. Her face lights up even more.
Wow, that's so fancy. You must be the rich and sophisticated type.
Rich? That's a joke. My parents didn't leave me a dime after they passed away. She then looks me up and down with a confused look on her face, taking in my tight, short overall dress and my boots. Noting this, I offer her an explanation. Well, I did change my appearance a bit when I moved. Shelly then reveals an excited smile on her face.
You know what? How about we swap Rio info? Me and a few of my friends are going out gambling and clubbing at the Blue Key Club and Casino this Friday. You being a newbie and all, I'd so love to show you the real side of Neon Shores.
I smile and nod my head. Sure, that sounds interesting. My ringer pupils flash purple as I signal my Rio to request a real swap from her. Shelly looks at me with more astonishment.
Oh nice, you're a ringer. That just means I won't have to worry about you getting too tired. I might be a human, but I can party super hard.
She says with an excited hop. This girl is clearly the very loud and hyper type, but she's at least nice, it seems, I suppose. After cementing our plans and saying our goodbyes, I began walking down the street and head towards my place. Since I live so close, there isn't a need for me to drive my car. I learned that it's cheaper just to catch a cab wherever you want to go. The parking prices are crazy expensive here, but that's how Neon Shores makes some of its tourist money.
Hey, look, it's her! It's that girl who did that thing! Yo, hey, you girl!
Says a shouting and excited male voice, suddenly grabbing my attention. A man surrounded by a group of friends crossed from my side of the street and walked towards a woman on the other side. Him and the rest of his guy and girl group seemed to have an excited, drunk energy. Wearing funny hats and goofy glasses, they're all clearly here on vacation for a few days and came with the intention to have a good time. I look in the direction that the group is walking towards. His words finally sink in the moment I see the person they're talking about. Whoa, wait, that's the drunk woman who posted that video on social feeds a few weeks ago. Before I could let it all sink in, my attention is quickly then taken by her loud and angry voice.
Why do people keep asking me about that video? How many times can I say that I don't fucking remember? I don't know where my cousin is. Stop visiting here for your fucking vacations and leave me alone.
Whoa, what is she talking about? Someone in that group was her cousin and they went missing? As if blinded by emotions, the social feeds girl rushes at the man and shoves him. He lets out and doesn't fall over, but his cup of alcohol spills all over him and drops to the ground. The three women in his group angrily step in and start pushing the girl back. Oh crap, I can't on good faith just sit here and watch this. Ugh. I rush across the street, but not before getting honked at by a few cars. A shiny, fancy, hovering black and white limo veers to the left slightly to avoid hitting me. Sorry, I shout to whatever rich person was sitting inside. I look back at the angry group before again shouting. Hold on, everyone calm down, I say as I finally get in between them. Look, either call the cops on her or back off. No one is beating anybody up today.
Bitch, how about you mind your damn business?
Shouts one of the women before shoving me. Hey, I'm not here to fight anyone. A part of me is beginning to regret that I didn't, in fact, just mind my business.
Oh, darling, why not simply allow the poor woman to pay your kind boyfriend so he can replace his spilled beverage?
The silky, calm voice from behind me cuts through the chaos, grabbing everyone's attention. I turn around and find a beautiful Saturn African woman. Besides her voice, the biggest thing that stuck out to me are the silk wrist-length gloves on her hands. It's not exactly a style I see every day in warm weather, but she made it look effortless. The expensive-looking gloves match her tight black knee-high skirt along with the thin red blouse that drapes her body. I turn at the sound of the social feeds girl's sudden tears. She has a look of realization on her face as if the situation she just put herself in has caught up with her. She stares at all of us for a moment before emotionally collapsing to her knees. Everyone, including me, go awkwardly silent as we look at her abruptly falling apart. One of the men announces to everyone in their group to just start walking. With one final glance, they all begin to turn and leave. Me and the new stranger look at one another, but the social feeds girl speaks up, interrupting us.
I'm sorry, I've just been so stressed out and confused. Tonight, I finally snapped. I just couldn't take it anymore.
You said that your cousin disappeared? The girl nods her head at my question.
I'm not supposed to talk about it, but I don't even remember recording that video, and neither do any of my friends. None of us even remember hanging out with my cousin or even being together that night. We looked drunk in the video, but not drunk enough to forget an entire day. It doesn't make any sense to me or to the police who suspect I have something to do with her missing. When people ask me about the video, it drives me so crazy because I don't even remember recording it.
Was your cousin a ringer?
The girl suddenly looks up at the both of us. It was as if that question sent her inner turmoil into a deeper silent spiral. She closes her eyes and holds her head in her hands as if she were in pain from her thoughts. Ma'am, is there anyone you can call to possibly come and pick you up, maybe? Without looking at me or the new stranger, she finally stands up and attempts to compose herself.
I'm not supposed to be talking about this with my friends, let alone some random strangers. I'm such a fucking idiot sometimes.
The social feeds woman moves around me and begins to walk off. The new stranger next to me gently stops her with her gloved hand, grabbing her attention. She then leans in and softly says a single word word in her ear.
Alamrad.
The girl has a look of shock, then turns to look at the woman. A sudden overcome of joy appears on her face before she begins to speak.
Thank you.
With another glance at me, the girl once again frowns and begins to quickly walk off, putting distance in between us. What in the world was that all about?
How awfully strange that she doesn't recall an entire day. If she isn't lying, then what other possibility exists?
Says the new stranger as if what she just did wasn't at all odd. I shrug at her comment. Maybe she's suppressing what happened out of guilt or shock? It's possible when something too traumatizing happens to the human, so the brain protects its hosts most of the time.
Is that so? To say that the misfortune happened to an entire group of girls is quite the far reach.
Her comment causes me to think to myself, that's true. How can an entire group get memory loss at the same exact time frame? Either they're all lying or a few of them are. I then give the new, calm, and well-mannered stranger a glance over before vocalizing the other question in my head. By the way, what was that word you spoke to her that she thanked you for? The lady smiles at me.
Oh, that? It's something I like to say to those who are troubled. It's a buried African language. In translation, it advises someone to be at peace. Legend says those who are in desperate need of spiritual healing recognize its meaning even if they've never heard the term before. To say that I'm astonished that she understood the word is quite the understatement.
Before I could respond to her odd response, it's then that I noticed that the car parked behind her is the fancy black and white limo that I ran in front of. Oh my god, was that you in that limo? I'm so sorry for likely giving you a heart attack. I am so sorry. She grins at me.
Not to worry, darling, but let me be the first here to advise you of something. It's best that you are more careful in regard of who you run to aid. That woman is a suspect in a high-profile case in relation to all the missing ringers in Neon Shores. Not just her cousin. From the guilt that appears to be eating her up, the law is on the right track.
Woman brings up her wrist Rio screen to glance at it before again looking at me. She stares me down with another faint yet sharp, smoldering expression. It was as if she were putting together a puzzle in her mind and had no intentions on revealing her results. After a moment, she stands tall with a grin before again speaking.
Unfortunately, darling, this is where we part ways. I have other matters to attend to this evening. A girl's got to stay busy to stay ahead.
Before I can respond, the lady turns around and saunters off towards her limo.
Oh, and welcome to Neon Shores.
She says over her shoulder before her limo door slides open and she sits inside. Bye. I say awkwardly, responding to her abrupt departure. I then look into the sidewalk's distance as the social feeds girl finally blends into the crowd. Holy crap, she's a suspect for all the Neon Shores ringer disappearances?
Not to listen to me. You chose to disobey me.
Oh gosh, it's the first time since I've left Burlow Heights that my mother's opinions came bubbling up in my head.
And now, you will feel the weight of those consequences break your shoulders. Even if I have to add extra weight to you myself, I will break you because you will learn.
I shake away her words. No, no, no. I left all of that in Burlow Heights. Go away, Mother. It's Friday night. Me and Roscoe step out of the taxi and now stand in front of the tall Blue Peak Casino building. The building glows different variations and shades of neon blue, and it's shaped like a tall mountain with the top made from a blue rock crystal material. Back at my apartment, I can see this place in the distance when I look out my window. It's known as a high rollers place and it costs an arm and a leg to get into the club section. I told a few other co-workers about it, but they felt the place was too expensive just to fulfill a curiosity. Roscoe, on the other hand, likes anything snobbish and jumped at the opportunity to go with me.
These are my kind of people, and the big ballers ain't too bad looking either. I might go fishing tonight and get me a catch.
He says as he playfully mocks reeling in a man who walks by. Everyone around us looks dressed to the nines and ready to spend a lot of money.
Come on, lead the way, Miss New Badass. Let's find your new friend and get on with this night.
I glance down at my outfit and smooth it out, even though not even a stitch is out of place. I decided to wear a black long-sleeve jumpsuit that fits me snugly and shows off the curves I once used to hide. The fabric begins to fade to see-through from the waist up, exposing some of my skin in a gold fancy two-top bra. Tonight is the night I decided to show off my new tattoo that I got 2 days ago. Soaring from my hip and up to my right rib cage is a colorful dragon wrapped in green vines. The design came to my head as soon as I arrived to the tattoo shop. At first, I was going to get something more feminine like a butterfly or a saying in cursive, but as soon as I spotted a laser billboard outside the shop advertising whiskey with a dragon logo, I excitedly changed my mind without hesitation. Everyone who used to work with me back in Burlow Heights thinks I'm going through a late rebel teen phase. New piercings, new hair, and a new tattoo in the span of a month. Maybe they're right, but at the same time, who cares? The old me was who my parents wanted me to be, and who I'm becoming is who I always was. They can't stop who I want to be anymore. Let's be sure to stay close to each other. The last thing we need is to be another pair of ringers coming up missing. I say to Roscoe as I interlock my arms with his. After we step inside, we walk in between the different tables where people roll dice or lay down cards. Floating Orobots with trays of drinks on top of them hover by. I then spot Shelly standing at the head of a table surrounded by people and shaking dice in her hand. Wearing a short pink and blue cape dress with her hair still in 2 buns, she jumps up with excitement after getting a good roll. After looking up and spotting me, she gestures me to walk over. Once we finally approach her, she gives me a hug and looks at Roscoe, taken off guard.
I didn't realize you were bringing someone. Is he your boyfriend?
Me and Roscoe shake our heads in unison. No way, he's just my friend.
So, is this like a date and you're both getting to know each other?
Me and Roscoe exchange humored looks. No, we're literally just friends.
Like friends who have a thing for each other but won't admit it?
I'm Roscoe, and I'm gay.
Roscoe, clearly wanting this convo to end, bluntly makes his introduction before extending his hand out for a handshake. Shelly nods her head with a new excited understanding, then shoots her hand out to meet his handshake. Why does our relationship even matter so much to her? She then lets out a sigh as if she were thinking.
Well, this changes things.
Changes what? Is it not okay that he's here? I ask her confusingly.
It's super fine that he's here. It's just no longer an even amount of people for our booth inside of the club is all. No worries, my new friends. Hey, you guys want to get in on this and throw some dice? Minimum bet is 10 grand at this cheaper table. I'm at 25k right now.
If I could swallow a liquid beverage, I probably would have spit it out. How is she so nonchalant about winning $25,000? This is the cheapest table? How much are the others? Before I can decline, Roscoe immediately says yes. I look at him like he is crazy. Roscoe, what in the world do you think you're doing? We make the same amount of money. We might get paid okay since our raise and all, but that's a lot of money to just throw to the wind. Roscoe shrugs.
I didn't come here to watch, I came to get in the mix.
He says as he excitedly rubs his hands together, after pulling up his reel screen and buying 2 electronic shots of tequila. His pupils flash purple, indicating he just bought his chips, and he begins to play. After 20 minutes of Roscoe winning and losing, a man walks up to Shelly and whispers in her ear. She then tells me and Roscoe that our table inside is ready and that her friends are waiting for us.
Time to dance my $10,000 problems away and refrain from going out for the next month,
says Roscoe as I pet him on the back to playfully comfort him. After taking an elevator ride that nearly reaches the top floor, we finally approach the entrance of the club. With a flash of me and Roscoe's pupils, we pay the expensive entrance fee and finally walk inside the large, dimly lit club. The place is packed and has a dance floor surrounded by 3 floors of black crystal wraparound balconies. The tall ceiling meets up in a triangular shape and the very top shimmers as if it were a water illusion. Up front, there's a stage where a famous techno rap group is performing as the crowd before them dances to their bass-filled music. Shelly grabs my hand to make sure we don't lose each other, and I grab Roscoe's hand as well. I then notice to the left is an outside area where I see a large blue pool. Hanging over the pool is a neon blue swing set that has a few girls sitting on them. This place is amazing. No wonder it's so expensive. As we stand on the escalator overlooking the dancing crowd of happy drunk people, right before I get ready to look away, someone catches my attention and I do a double take. Standing still as a statue in the middle of the dancing, moving crowd is the social feeds girl. What the? She appears to be looking around as if taking everything in with a curious yet lost expression. If her serious aura doesn't make her stand out, it's the plain t-shirt and sweatpants that she has on. If I don't recall, this place has a strict dress code, so she's giving me the impression that she snuck in for whatever reason. As she continues to look around, taking in every inch of her surroundings, her eyes connect with mine. I don't know what reaction I was expecting, but she didn't have much of one at all. She simply turns and begins to walk through the crowd. Well, that was very strange. Should I say something about her odd behavior to someone? Maybe to security? As I contemplate with myself over what just happened, me, Roscoe, and Shelly finally reach the top balcony and walk through more crowds of dancing people. After another moment, we approach what looks to be our fancy section. Standing in front, guarding the open entrance, is a large, mean-looking man.
Wait here one moment.
Shelly says to us before walking past the big guy with no issue. It's too dark to tell who she's talking to, but she leans over and speaks to someone who is lounging on a couch. I take this moment to tug at Roscoe, grabbing his attention, gesturing him to lean in closer. Hey, remember that social feeds girl I told you about?
Yeah, what about her?
She's here. I just saw her and she was acting so strange.
Okay, your friend is so cool to come into, so let's go.
Before I could finish my discussion with Roscoe, Shelly shows up interrupting us before gesturing us to follow her. Me and Roscoe give each other a look before finally following her. As we walk past the large bouncer, his pupils flash and he nods his head at us. Oh, he's a ringer. Now past the security and in the section that only a few have access to, I finally get a better view of the area. There appears to be 8 people lounging on a big fancy hovering couch that overlooks the dance floor and the stage. 2 men and 6 girls. Each guy has 3 women around him. Shelly goes to one of the men and sits on his lap before giving him a kiss on the cheek. She then turns and gestures at me and Roscoe before speaking.
This is my new friend Cassidy and her friend Roscoe.
As I take in everything that's going on in front of me, it begins to make more sense why Shelly was thrown off by Roscoe's presence. Am I supposed to be this other guy's 4th hooker or something? The guy whose lap Shelly is sitting on looks to be a dark-skinned Southern African drenched with jewelry. He sits comfortably and shirtless with rock-hard abs with a power radiating off him as if he owned the place. With a pair of dark shades covering his eyes, his glowing tattoos reflect off of them, making him look as if he were glowing himself. It's hard to tell if he's even looking at me when he finally speaks.
Hey, how are you, Cassidy?
Shelly gets off his lap and makes her way over to the other guy and sits on him instead. This time she kisses that one hard and deeply on the lips.
My name is Vino Jones.
The women surrounding this Vino guy sensually snaked their legs and arms around him. It was as if they were praising some kind of god and they couldn't get enough of him. Christ. I guess I'm instead this guy's 4th hooker. This so-called good time situation seems far too advanced and uncomfortable for me. Oh God, what have I just gotten myself mixed up in? I sing to the songs and move my hips to the melodies as if I were made of drizzling honey.
I've been giving you the worst.
I raise my hands above my head, anticipating my body and soul melting onto the floor. I feel a hand softly grip around my wrist, then gently and slowly travel down my arm, tickling my skin. I begin to bring myself towards the body, inviting me to them.